Hello?
What is up?
Hello?
Hello?
Your microphone quality is pretty rough.
Is it still rough?
That's a little bit better. I just had to turn it up a little bit. Okay, can you say something?
Can I say something?
There we go. How's it going?
Alrighty. It's going pretty good.
How you doing? All right, so let's get into the lesson. I didn't read this last thing you were saying. Oh no, I did. Okay, so you were saying one of these games you played well, and then one of them you didn't, or something like that.
I don't know. My hands were just really stiff. It got really cold.
Okay.
It'd been warm a few days, and then my hands weren't able to cope with the cold. So it's not like bad playing. It's just more tech errors than average. It's
Okay.
noticeable.
And could you maybe go over sort of like what issues you feel like you're having?
Well, first, I was having trouble dealing with Walker's full hop. I had been feeling like even when I react to his full hop and was able to like get a laser mix up on his landing, or maybe do like a more aggressive mix up like down air his landing or something like that, that it still felt like I wasn't truly winning the situation or making it threatening enough to the Fox to where he would want to full hop less and play more of the grounded game.
Mm-hmm.
Then I watched like two of your lessons the other day, and you explained about the full hop shine,
Mm-hmm.
and it just made a lot of sense because I had been trying to meet his full hop with an aerial or something just to do anything to make him feel more threatened in the air. It's like, yeah, I'd be getting damage, but it still wasn't winning.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well
there's
it's
going to be
good.
a
It's
lot
good
of
that you
me.
saw that, and now that you know about the jump shine.
The other
So,
thing
yeah.
is, if they're like playing extremely fast, and I try to do like more defensive mix-ups, I feel like I still get run over. And then when I try to play aggressive into their aggressive, I don't know if it's just like me not fully understanding the options they're trying to choose and running in and still losing. But like I'll try to maybe go for like a jump shine if I know they're gonna run at me and we're in close quarters, or like up tilt, or just like dash towards them or something. I definitely need to do more dash towards. I also came to that realization watching your lessons.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
But it seems like I still lose a lot of the situations
Okay.
when I'm like thinking about moving forward to take space in like close interactions.
Okay. That's a good thing to start with, actually. All right. So let's take a look. See what happens. And feel free to mention anything that comes up.
Yeah. I also had taken a break for like a couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and coming back, I realized that like my timings for reacting to Fox's side B recoveries was way off because I
Okay.
had been practicing Falco, but I had set up some save states so I can grind that out. It's just really
That's
off.
good. So yeah, sometimes taking a break like that can show you, like, wait a minute, I've been doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
Would probably rather you be doing shine turnaround down airs here.
Yeah. Which is funny because I feel like I do that more often than not.
Okay, that's fine. Nice shine. Hmm. 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 There's a couple of things so far, but I'm gonna finish watching the match. Nice. Yeah, okay, that happened again. And a fifth time, okay. Hmm. Okay, so let's restart this. Um, if I could kind of reduce it into one sentence, and I think this sort of ties into a little bit of what you were saying, is it seems like you feel like you need to move around Fox, where like Fox is doing things and you need to move around it. But that is sort of viewing the matchup backwards because Falco is the slower character, so Fox is
Yeah.
always going to be moving around Falco. You can't move around Fox as Falco. It's not possible. And so if you're playing the slower character, the other character is always going to be moving around you, and you need to win with just having stronger options. You can't win using movement. And if your character can't win using better options, then they're going to lose. Because if you don't have better options and you don't have better movement, your character is just going to lose the matchup. So, because Falco is slower, we need to find advantages in other ways. So, this sort of manifested during this match. So, in probably the most obvious way is that you cornered yourself like 6 or 7 times when you shouldn't have been. And the reason I think is that like you see Fox in center and you're kind of like, all right, I need to like Fox could attack me out of center, so I need to get out of his attack range and try to like fight from there or something like that.
Yeah, I need to give him space to come forward while
Right,
letting me attack him instead of.
but like realistically, if you are close to Fox, Fox should be thinking like if Fox is in center and you're in the corner, Fox should be trying to catch you moving out of the corner. You shouldn't be trying to catch Fox moving into the corner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are a lot of situations where I also noticed like a really distinct lack of approaching laser, and I think that's probably ties into it, where you're trying to give
I
Fox.
actually have been trying to not do approaching laser because I've had a bad habit of solely doing laser into approaching laser.
Okay.
So that's specifically something that I'm trying to just not do.
Okay, well, I would say specifically try to do approaching lasers in ways that aren't laser approaching laser. But like you shouldn't like if you get rid of it, Falco is like an incomplete character, and like things will start getting really hard. And I think it's okay to play Falco as like an incomplete character as long as you recognize that you're like going down in the tier list. Like I played Laserless for a while, but like I recognize that like Laserless Falco is like probably like high tier or something. He's definitely not a top tier character.
I feel that.
So yeah, there's situations like this, and yeah, if you're in a spot like this, moving around Fox here, this is totally fine. It's more like, let me find an example. There were a lot of situations in this game where this happened. So here you're fighting it out here. That's pretty good. And there Fox catches you going out of the corner, so this is good. There's definitely like several times where this happens, so. And yeah, he should have just died out of this. He should have died specifically out of this one. Some of these are like a little too ambiguous. Like this one, I don't expect you to down air that one. But okay, so here's a good example of this. Of like your goal as Falco is to fight for good positioning. And so if you voluntarily put yourself in the corner, you have done your opponent's job for them. And so your opponent, if they could pick you up off the platform and put you somewhere else, I mean outside of, way off here, way off stage here,
yeah.
They would put you right here. And so your opponent wants you right here. And you don't want to be right there. So if you put yourself here, they won without doing anything. Where you want to be is you want to be like here. So you're trying to get to here, but your opponent is here defending this space. So you have to think, how am I going to end up here? Don't ever go over here. So what happens here is you shield. This is fine. And then he sort of runs up and you shield drop. So going to here is not inherently bad, but you need to continue to fight for the center once you have a position like this. If you did a dash back and then you did a dash in aerial or dash back, dash in laser here, that would be perfectly acceptable. Like, it's not the dash back that's necessarily the problem. It's the fact that you're not fighting for the center. Like, your goal here is not to fight for the center. Your goal is, I got down from the platform, and now Fox is in nair range, so I better get out of nair range. But that's just losing. Like, there's no other
only
complexity
thinking about
to it.
him and not about what I should be doing.
Well, you're thinking about the threats that he has to you, and not the positioning. Like, whenever you're in this range against Fox, he will have like approach options, but he can't always make his approaches work because you have options. Sorry about that. You have options that beat his approaching options. And so, like, this spacing will happen all the time, but in different stage positions. And, like, the stage positioning is a lot of times the important part here. And so, you can't just see these ranges and think, I gotta move back, because you'll just keep moving back all the time until you're in the corner. And that's not what you want. So it's more about, you have to stay focused on your positioning goals. Like, your positioning goals are to fight for the center. Falco is always fighting for the center. And so when Fox is here, you have to be fighting for the center. Like, if you get out of the way, it's not like getting out of the way is going to let you punish Fox nair in. Like, if you dash back to here and Fox nairs right here,
my character's too slow to.
You're not going to be able to punish him on reaction. He has a fast fall mix-up. He can drill fade back here. He can full hop over you, and now you're in the corner, and he's above the platform, and it gets kind of weird unless you full hop shine him, but it's really hard to react in that spot. So it's kind of like you're kind of just in a bad spot. And so it feels like if I move out of the way of Fox, I'm getting rid of some risk. But in reality, you're just repeating the same situation, but with more risk because now you're in the corner. So, like, there's going to be risk. The game inherently has risk in a fight. So, you would rather fight in the positions where your character is the strongest than fight where your character is weaker. And you're going to have to fight Fox eventually. There's no world in which Fox moves around and you sort of dash and dodge around him as Falco and find hits. That's not how this character works. If you want to do that, you play this character against Falco. Because that's how Fox works. Like, if you think about it from the Fox perspective, Falco's shooting lasers, he's putting out down airs, he's putting out shines, and then Fox is trying to use his movement to get around those things and push Falco into bad positions. So something really common is Falco goes for laser to center, Fox allows Falco to attack the center and gain central positioning, and then Fox will full hop over. Falco does like an up tilt or something. Fox is above the up tilt, drill shine. Falco gets sent to the corner, and then he has to tech out of the corner. And now Fox has like won the center positioning, and he has you in a knockdown state. So like that'd be a situation that like Fox wants. Fox wants to get out of your way. He wants you to come on, take some space, and he's looking for a potential to move and counter hit you. But you are not looking for that as Falco. You need to look for ways to actively fight and beat Fox using mix-ups when you're in close range. So dashing back here was fine, but you like completely just use this to like you're like, yes, like I did it, like I got corner. And it's like, you don't really want corner. That's not really what you're here to do. So, and like I said, look, the Fox does this nair, and it's not like you won the situation just because the Fox naired. He could have fast-falled this, whatever, and he could have landed like a route right here instead. And then if you look at it, this situation, or like this one, is pretty similar to if he nared and landed here, except you're in the corner. So like your risk went up a lot, because if you had, like, let's say you're here and this happens and you down air in and he nairs you, because you know you're kind of afraid of him nairing, right? So like let's say you do some option and he nairs, and let's just say that like you jump and he nairs earlier, so his nair catches you on the way up, so he gets above your down air and he nairs you. Most likely you're gonna slide off to edge, and if you don't, you'll just like go off and double jump to edge or side B to edge or whatever. You're not gonna be in too much danger. But if he now nairs you in this position, even with a weak nair, look at you. Oh no, you almost died.
I did almost die.
And so it's like, here we go again. It's like, all right, we're in this spot. Like, this is even. So right here.
Yeah, like positionally.
This is an even
and
situation.
spacing-wise.
Like, you can't ask for a more even positioning than this, stage-wise. It's like he's literally under this platform, you're under this platform, you're starting your actions on basically like the same frame. Maybe he's like one frame early, it doesn't really matter. And so, like, if you are going to play defensive here, this isn't something that the matchup forced. This is you. Like, this is your decision to play defensive or play passive here. Because the characters are literally just in central space, and so your theory of the matchup, or like your understanding of like what Falco can do here, is just inherently losing. Because if you're in this situation with Fox and you see him rushing in, so you do this dash back and you shield. So first of all, there's no chance of you ever winning center doing this. You're basically just crossing your fingers and saying, man, if he does this early nair on my shield, like if he runs all the way over to here and does an early nair, I'm going to get a nice shine at his shield. That's literally what you're doing. Like, there's no option coverage here. There's no pressure. It's just literally, I'm going to dash away shield and just hope for the early aerial. And the thing is, like, at this spacing, he could have just very easily, like, late aerial too. Like, this doesn't even beat aerial. It's just this. Like, it's just pure fear. There's no like activity in it. You know, like like you
Hmm.
want to be trying to beat your opponent, and this is very like hoping your opponent just does the one option that'll kind of beat themselves, and it's you're not utilizing your character to the fullest here. So
I think my fear was that I was too close to laser before his nair hit me, so I was just like, "I'll shield, maybe fan
okay,
out a shield
that's
or roll."
actually a good point to think about. So let's say you do have enough time to laser, and he runs at you, and like let's say you're farther across the stage, okay, and you do have time to laser, and he runs at you, and you get a laser out. What is the resulting situation of that?
The same situation.
It's the exact same situation. Like you haven't. Nothing has changed. If he is, let's see, like if he is way over here and you just lasered him and he gets lasered right here, so you go laser, he runs up, he gets hit right here with the laser, he dash forwards, he does a dash forward out of laser. This is exactly the same situation as this, except you got a laser out first. So something that's really common with Falcos is they feel like this need, like if I can just get a laser out, then everything will be okay. And then, which is not a horrible mindset to have as long as you know that like when you get the laser out, it doesn't win neutral. Like getting the laser out doesn't just win the game. The laser, when you hit somebody with a laser, you get to confirm the exact distance that the neutral situation starts at. That's all you get out of laser. Like if you somebody takes laser and they know how to act out of laser and you laser them, all you get is okay, for sure they are
They're
starting
right
here
here.
and I'm starting here. That's all you get. So getting a laser out is not like a win in that sense. Like if he's so close to you that you can't get a laser out, that means that you can hit him. So like that's like aerial mix up time. And so then the idea is like, okay, so if Fox is at this range, let's say you're thinking about hitting him. This range or maybe a little further, doesn't matter. Let's say you're thinking about hitting him. What move are you gonna do?
Down air at this percent, I
Yeah.
could actually do strong nair too.
Yeah, so you'd do a short hop aerial. And so what is Fox's counter to short hop aerial?
He could dash back. He could shield preemptively. He could
Okay,
full
so
hop over my aerial.
you said full hop over your aerial?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So those are your options. Okay, so so if Fox dashes back and you could just, rewind time, he's going to dash back, what move are you going to do?
Definitely laser or
Right.
dash forward into approaching laser.
So if he's going to dash back and he's going to dash back, never just do laser in place. That's always an approaching laser.
Yeah.
Because when that's happened, he's basically, I was getting after you for sort of going into the corner. That's exactly what happens to
What
Fox.
he's doing
Is
now.
if
Yeah.
Fox is always in the mindset that I have to, if so, Fox is like I used to play this matchup like this when I was not very good at the game as Fox. Is you get kind of close to Falco and you dash dance and you wait for them to short hop down air at you, which is the noob Falco habit, and then you
Yeah.
dash away and you go, ah ha ha, like I can just never get hit by Falco. But then you play a good Falco and you get in this range and you're in center and everything is good and you're in a nice even position and you dash back and Falco approaching lasers and now you're here and Falco's in center and it's the same spacing like this, exactly this, but moved over to here where he's on center and you're in the corner as Fox. And you're like, wait a minute, am I losing? And that happens really fast. That's one interaction, and it goes from this dead even corner situation or central situation to a corner situation where Fox is in the corner. And so, from a range like this, Fox's dash back to dodge your aerial has inherent risk. If you guess right on his dash back,
He gets a
then
much worse position.
he's in a much worse position at the same range. And so dash back from here does not have a guaranteed good result. It is a mix-up. And okay, so let's say he shields. What are your good options against his shield? Let's say you start with a dash forward, because
Approaching laser
obviously
is
if he
still
shields
really
in place,
good.
like laser in place is pretty good. But we're talking about starting with a dash forward.
Approaching laser is still really good. I could do running shine, late aerial. grab, but I
Okay.
don't foresee
Okay, yeah, so
myself
that's good.
grabbing.
Okay, so the main options that I think are really prevalent are late aerial and approaching laser on his shield. So if he shields and you do one of those options, you're winning, right? Because you're getting shield pressure for free. And I'm sure, as you know, Falco getting shield pressure is pretty strong. There's
Yeah.
not a lot the opponent can do in those situations. There's shine out of shield stuff like that, but like most of the time they're not going to be able to defend against it in a way that puts them in like a winning position. So like if you could choose as Falco to turn this situation right here into a
Into
situation
shield
where they're
pressure.
shielding and you just late aerialed or lasered their shield, you would take it. So therefore that's like a better situation for you. And then so so those are his two main options. He can full hop, but if he full hops, he's opening himself up to potential jump shines. He's opening himself up to up tilt. Um, it also has risk. So all of his moves that avoid you down airing in on top of him all have risk. Because if you chose the right option to counter his response to this supposed aerial that might or might not be coming out, then there is risk in all that. And that is what the Fox needs to feel. The Fox needs to feel, okay, I'm running in right now. And then Falco is going to make an aggressive dash towards me. And any option the Fox chooses from that point has risk. Falco could potentially kill you out of any option at that point. And that's part of what you need to see as the Falco player is you need to be able to see that like any option Fox does to counter my approaching aerial here has pretty big risk factors associated with it. And so he's calculating those risks in his head. And so when he's doing this dash, he's not thinking like, haha, like I'm going to rush over here and beat up Falco. He's thinking, when I rush over here and then Falco tries to approaching down air me here or approaching near me here, what am I going to do to counter it? And what is Falco thinking? Like, it's a pure mix-up from the Fox end here. And they're going to try to, dash here, and then maybe they'll dash back, and they'll kind of stay at this range, and that's when you start, lasering, because the lasers can set you up for a potential situation like this, where you get your approaching aerial mix-up. How much sense does that make?
A lot.
Okay, that's good. So, and the other thing is that if Fox stays in this range and he dash dances here, he will simply get hit by the approaching down air. And the nice thing about approaching down air or approaching nair here is, especially down air, is that if Fox tries to run all the way in on you, he'll get hit with the down air like here. And that's actually a situation you'll see really commonly. I'm sure it comes up all the time for you, is like he runs in and you just happen to throw out an aggressive down air here or something like that, and it'll just catch him while he's running. And he won't even be able to like shield it or do anything. He'll just be running in and he just gets hit.
Yeah.
So it's important to not see a situation like if you look at this situation and you see like a loss, like you see, oh man, he sure is close to me, I gotta defend myself. Like, that means that every time you're in a neutral situation, you already think it's a loss. And so that's not good. So yeah, just going back to this is not what you want to be doing. You want to at least be threatening a... So, interestingly here, think about, why does Fox shield? And I don't know if this Fox knows why he shields either. But, so actually he does this really bizarre option that doesn't make sense, where he wave dash down shield. But let's pretend he just shields, which is like not the scrubby option here. So also if you had run in and down air, you would have just hit the waveland down, which is why it's not good, is because it loses to your most basic like caveman option where you just hit it. And so he's shielding here. The reason why he's shielding here is because he's expecting you to push out somehow. So, because that's what Falco should do there. And so by playing super passive here, he just kind of goes, oh, okay, I guess I'll throw out something here and try to catch you. Alright, and so now we can look and we'll see probably something really similar happen a second time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was good. Kept up the pressure in the corner. Got the stock.
instantly go to the corner. I guess it's sort of different since he has invincibility, but
Yeah, so it is definitely different when he has invincibility. I think I still don't really like going to corner. I think going to platforms is a lot better against Fox during invincibility. And the reasoning is that you're not vulnerable to shines. Because if he shines you on a platform, you'll just slide
platform might
off.
just slide off.
So I think like shield, like the light shield stuff. I'm sure you've seen Ginger's light shield on platform stuff, like right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is. You're like, oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So that's like really good. And just platforms in general are really good. Like, yeah, he can like up air you or something, but a lot of times he needs a second to get his up air ready, and maybe his invincibility runs out, and you shield his up air and get a. Like, this has happened to me 5 million times as Fox, where I come back invincible and a Falco's kind of chilling on the platform, and I try to, like, he'll, like, full hop from here and wave land on the top plat, and he'll just sit there, and I'll try to double jump up air him, and then my invincibility runs out during my up air, and then I get shield drop shined. And from 0, coming back with a fresh stock, I'm already at a disadvantage. And so those are nice. Like, that's like kind of nice for you as Falco, and just being kind of centralized and on the platforms is really good just because shine doesn't work, which is a big deal. Shine doesn't work, and because of that, drill doesn't work. Grab doesn't work unless he's on the same plane as you. All he really has, especially when you're at 0 also, is to start something, is to up air, and you can reasonably defend against up air with shield, and so that's kind of a way to just sort of generally stay safe during the. And yeah, so here's a spot where you come down. Okay, you're fighting for center. This is good. Fox is doing this drill here, and so it's okay to dash back here to try to avoid this. And then, okay, so you go for this laser, which is fine. So now you're in this spot. So you're pretty close to Fox, but you're a little bit in the corner, and it's not. The thing is
it's like the same spacing from earlier too, funnily enough.
This spacing will come up 5,000 times in a match. So, like, the stage isn't infinite. You're not always going to be perfectly in center. Like, inherently, you're going to have to fight out of other positions than perfect center. Ideally, it'd be great if you always had to fight out of center, but you can't. So, being in a position like this, if you're in a position like this, you shouldn't be like, man, what did I do wrong to end up in this position? Like, these will happen. Like, this is just sort of like the natural flow of the match. The idea is that you want to not stick around in this, so you dash forward, which is really good. So Fox, he's not even active yet. He's scared. So he shields. Okay? Oh, wow, this is very aggressive. So you get this, you dash all the way in here, and then, so you get the dash back, which is fine. This is basically you're reacting to him shielding. But then, when you're dashing back in, I would really love to see, like, a nair here, or something to that effect. Like, you got to do something, because then...
I think I saw the full hop, and was like, I don't want to nair instantly and have him land on top of me. So it's like, if I dash back, I won't get hit.
Well, the thing is
hop.
you shouldn't have been able to react to this. Like... Right, so look at, so here's what happens here is you get this laser, you dash in, this is frame 3 of shield. Let's say you can react to shield on like frame 10. That's like very, optimistic, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 10 now. And then so this is like where you will kind of get the awareness of shield. And let's see, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're definitely realizing now that he has shielded. So at this point, you should now be trying to put some form of aggressive pressure on his shield. It could either be an aerial here, a grab. He is at low percent, so you can go for like a down throw. Like, this is prime down throw shine percent.
We'll report it.
And then alternatively, you can do a dash back, and you can do a dash in late aerial here, or a dash in laser on his shield. And or like I said, you can do a standing laser right here because he'll be shielding. But the problem with the standing laser right here is you're kind of resetting the standing laser on shield would be great if the positions were reversed here. But because you're in the corner, you don't really want to be doing too many standing lasers just in case. So you've definitely seen the shield at this point, but you haven't committed. You're kind of like waiting for him to do something. But the thing is that you already got him to do something. You got him to You got him to shield. So by waiting for him to do something else, you're sort of just letting him do whatever he wants. And then you just keep dash dancing in the corner, and this is where it turns bad. So this is fine.
Yeah.
Even this is like, okay, he kind of got out of that, and he kind of does this, but maybe this is, and you're like, okay, I don't really want to take center right underneath him, but you don't want to get too far off from center, you know, like maybe like stay kind of here, and then when this happens, and he gives up this space, and you continue dashing in center, this dash back, this is where it all went wrong, right here. Because he's given up space, and you're still committed to playing out of the corner. And then it's just crazy. And now you're like, well, now he's coming back in. So now I really have to stay in the corner. And it's like, okay. So,
yeah.
And the thing is, he just, look at how far he ran across the stage. If Falco could not punish this, he would be a bad character. So then you get this laser in the corner, which works kind of. Like, you could have gotten probably a laser shine here. Obviously, I'm not going to blame you for missing this. Falco shine is really tiny. And so, like, you did win this situation, and doing this laser here wasn't bad. But the problem is that this was a situation where if you didn't somehow get the perfect laser shine, you were going to lose. So it's like, basically, you put yourself in a bad spot, and then you won anyway. But that doesn't mean you should be okay being in a bad spot, because you're going to lose more often. And so now you're in this position. After this, you have him here up on the platform. You have a chance to take center here. And you're like, nah, back to corner. And so here now you pressed out of the corner with your nair. This is good. So now after this nair, this is funny. Look at this. Watch. This is actually the picture-perfect way of how to, to see the issues that you have with the matchup right now. This is the perfect situation for this. Is you're here, you nair, he rolls to here. You have succeeded. You have, Falco now has a gold medal. He got to center, he didn't die in the corner, and Fox is in the corner, and he's in his roll lag. This is glorious for you as Falco. The best thing you can do here is immediately dash forward, because they have to consider the option that you're about to down air in their face. So bad Falco is like, I'm gonna down air you, and they do the down air. And then good Falco is like, I'm gonna down air you, and they almost never actually do it until they do. So it's not good, as you know, to just not randomly, but it's not good every time you see a position like this to just down air in, because you're going to get shield grabbed, and that's why all the bad Falcos complain about getting shield grabbed all the time. And so you don't just want to go for it, but the reason why all the bad Falcos go for down air here all the time is because it actually covers a lot of options, and it puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. Yeah, the opponent can counter it by just shielding, but it's a very strong option, and so you need to recognize the strength of that option and always be threatening it, because the fact that it's there and you might do it is enough to kind of start stacking the neutral in your favor. Whereas if you don't threaten it, then you don't get any of the benefits of it. Even you're avoiding risking yourself by doing it, but you can avoid risking yourself while still putting the same exact pressure on them that the normal down air would have. So if you dash forward here and you act like you're going to do the down air, they will shield, even though you never had to actually risk yourself for the down air, and so you basically converted a dash forward into them shielding.
Yeah, and instead I dash back and say, here, have another chance.
Yeah, so you're here and you're like, all right, I have center on you. This is when it's pressure time. This is when it's laser in place time, laser in place dash forward, threatening these down airs. And a lot of times the goal is you're kind of trying to poke at Fox and be like, am I gonna? And he's like, you know what? I'm tired of you saying, am I gonna? I'm gonna go to platform. And then he gets jump shine. And you're like, yeah. That is the ideal way to play this. Is like, and he's like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. And then by him not dealing with it, he dies. And that's what you want. So you're here, and then you're just like, like, oh no, like Fox is on the stage with me. Like, oh no. And it's like, you can't, like, it's a cage match. You know, you can't.
Yeah.
If you could just walk away and go back to your house and lock the door, then this would be optimal. It'd be optimal. It'd be optimal to just leave, because you're not gonna risk yourself. What's he gonna do? Break your door down? You know, like. But you don't have a house to go back to. Like, you're stuck in this cage match with this Fox until one of you loses your stocks. So moving away from Fox isn't gonna get you anywhere except into the corner. So yeah, you're just like, get me out of here. And now it's like, you suddenly got from this central situation where you were super, super winning back into this corner spot where you're getting beat up. And he didn't do anything to deserve that. He did literally nothing. He just pressed left. He just pressed
He actually
left.
did the same exact thing from the left side to the right side. And then
Yeah,
from the
he's
right
just
side
like,
to the
well,
left
there
side.
he is, get him! And you're like, here he comes! And it's like, that's not the way the game's supposed to work, because you could just hit him out of this at any point. It's like, if you have a Fox that keeps doing this is glorious, just dash back, dash in, down here. Like, it'll hit him every time. Ooh, really good recovery mix up there. I might have fallen for that. You're like, oh, and then you drift back and side B. Really good. Okay, got this. I'm not gonna worry too much about your combo game, because it seems like, yeah, and it's like, okay, so like walking back into the corner here, like I get that you're like, but it's like if you did this for like a reason, it would make sense. But literally, like, look at these positions. Like,
We're so far from each other.
You're not losing. Why the corner doesn't? You're like, it calls to me, my homeland. Like, and it's like, no, Falco's home is in the center. So yeah, this is not advisable. Fox is just like, Fox is like, oh no, I'm in the corner, and he's like, wait a minute. Falco's just calmly walking away. So yeah, so let me just find this spot right here. So this is obviously like a vulnerable situation for Fox. If you were still right here and you had a laser out and he dropped right into your laser, he'd be starting to panic. This would be very dangerous for him. So you're basically just giving up your advantageous situation. And there you go again. Like, you're in corner. That's good. And the thing is, so this specific action you do with the dash really far into corner and then doing something, this is actually good. So once you're actually in the corner, you're not playing it too badly. The problem is that you're only supposed to
there constantly.
Yeah, like, you're only supposed to have to play this dash into the corner super far mix up when you already got forced into the corner. You know, Fox shines you and you do a regular get up and now he's running at you and you're stuck in the corner. This is when you have to do this little corner play stuff you're doing. And so I don't think you're necessarily playing out of the corner really badly, but you're putting yourself into the corner when you don't need to be. Okay. And I'm sure you've seen this in some other lessons. Going for this is like, doing this dash forward here is perfect, but the issue is that you're doing exactly what you both know is happening. So like, if this laser grab was guaranteed, you know, like let's say you lasered him and you were here instead of here, and so you have a guaranteed laser grab, there's nothing he can do to avoid being grabbed here, and so there's no reason not to just go straight in for the grab. But when you don't have a guaranteed grab here, the threat of the grab is the important part, not the grab itself.
The actual grab.
Because if the threat here is grab, and you both know the threat here is grab, and you just go for the grab that you just threatened, he knows the grab is coming. You just told him it was. You said, I'm going to grab. He said, all right. And you said, here it comes. And he goes, okay, I'm ready. And then you go, grab. And he spot dodges or whatever. And you're like, man, how did that happen? And it's like, well, because you told him. So Yeah, so he rolls and he gets out of this grab. And the reason is that, this was very understood by both of you that this grab was here. So a better option a lot of times is to maintain the tension a little bit more and just sort of be like, maybe dash dance here, look for the roll, look for the spot dodge, look for the full hop, because those are the ways that he's going to get out of grab. So you have to think one layer beyond where the basics are. Okay, and then there's some sort of platform movement here, which doesn't really make a ton of sense, but it's not really the main thing I'm focusing on right now. And so notice that when you're in the corner, your goal is not to if you get like this, you're feeling better here than you were here. And so you don't want to be here if you can help it. And I mean, at this point, you can kind of see it too, wait, what's going on here? Why did I do this? What am I accomplishing? Because it's like, yeah, you hit him with this laser, and it's like, nice, I got the laser here. Look, this is that same situation, except you're in the corner again.
Yeah, I'm definitely too focused on hitting the laser at a spacing where I'm not going to be punished for it.
And then
instead of
exactly
fighting where I'm at.
Yeah, because there's this idea, or there's this sort of feeling with Falco that if I can get the laser out, I'll win the situation. But getting the laser out resets the situation. It doesn't win the situation.
Yeah.
The power of Falco is having
an up smash here.
Hmm?
Especially if he's whiffing.
Yeah, he's whiffing an up smash, exactly. No, so you get this laser, and you rush in, and he dips, and so now you're here. And you're like, look at this. The most even of even situations ever. Where do you think you're going to go? Where do we think we're going?
Unfortunately,
we're going home. Back to the corner. Now I can laser safely.
And nothing happened.
And you just get beat up for it. And it's like, okay. And then, so look at this. So this is a situation where, this situation isn't any more of a free win than those other situations. The only difference in this situation was you were confident because you had just hit a down air on him a second ago. That was the only difference. So, when you're in this situation, you wave dash in here. This isn't guaranteed. He could have drilled out of shield. He could have wave dashed out. He could have done plenty of things to you. But now, because you just hit this downer on him, you're like, aha, I'm on the aggressive end. I have the pressure, so I can do this. And Fox has to deal with it. And the thing is, doing this is not bad. It's obviously a mix-up, but it's not bad. And the reason is that, you're doing things to Fox. Fox has to then move. If you're committed to I am wave dashing and shining you, Fox has to do something about this. He can full hop, he can roll, he can shield, but he has to do something about it. He can't just sit here. And so taking this mentality that you have right after you hit him and putting it everywhere is kind of what you want. You always want to be trying to do things to Fox that aren't laser out of corner. So yeah, you're fighting for center here. This is going well. Things are going pretty well for you, even though there's a lot of mistakes. You're fighting for center.
Yeah.
This is kind of how it's supposed to feel. And you sort of have this you're kind of in the predator mode type of thing that happens where it's I'm on the aggressive here, and you're kind of tracking Fox, looking for the kill. And that is the mentality you want in this matchup all the time. You should always feel like you're just tracking down Fox looking for the kill. It should not feel like you need to keep him away from you or anything like that. Keeping him away from you is a natural consequence of trying to kill him. And there's another lesson I went over. I don't blame you for not seeing every single one of my lessons, but there's a lesson where I went over and I showed in detail where if you're trying to hit Fox, you actually avoid a lot more of Fox's options than you do when you're trying to avoid Fox, because he's choosing options to try to hit you, and you are choosing options to try to hit him. And just like, Fox is here, and you go for a short hop down air, like over here, and then he goes for like he goes for like a run in, then like you'll just down air past him or laser past him, and he'll be over here. But if you try to stop him from getting in on you, then you would be attacked by him. But like if you're both attacking each other at the same time, you actually will just like avoid a lot of his attacks inherently by like moving around.
I have watched that lesson. This VOD was actually like a couple days before I watched it. So there's ideas.
Okay, well it's good. It's good that you saw it then. That's awesome. And then you guys are just trolling each other. I'm not going to comment on that. Like, that's just fun. See, also doing these sort of platform attacks like this is not super recommended. The thing is like it works and it wasn't that bad, and at least you're fighting for center. But you don't. It almost feels like you are doing this because you don't know what else to do. Like you don't feel comfortable with the grounded aggression game, so now you're kind of pivoting to this platform type stuff. And so the platform type stuff is good, and it's not a problem, but I don't want it to be like a crutch,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're fighting out of center fine. That was a bit of an overcommitment here to go into the corner, but at least you're approaching. Yeah, so this is like another situation where you're like if I'm the Fox here, I'm like, he's definitely coming in on me. Like, you both know that Falco is on his way in right here. And so you have to, like, this is kind of like what I do in chess. Like, I'm pretty bad at chess. I just started pretty recently. And so I'll, like, think of this sick tactic or something where it involves my opponent not doing anything for 5 moves. Where, like, I'm like, oh, so I go here, and then here, and then here? Oh, they can't do anything. And then I do my first move, and they do a move, and I'm like, bro, no one told me my opponent could move too, And that's kind of the same situation where, like, you're like, man, if the Fox just stays right here and does literally nothing, I'm about to come body him. And that's true, and he knows it too, and that's why he's not going to be here when you get here. Pretty much ever. And so when you have this type of pressure, you don't want to be thinking of like you don't want to really be going for this laser jump shine, because this is what you both expected. So you want to look for how is he going to avoid the laser jump shine, not how am I going to hit the laser jump shine. How am I going to hit him when he avoids what I'm telling him I'm going to do? And yeah, we spent a long time on this one match, but this is like a treasure trove of info. So let's try the second video. I think we have like 5 or 6 minutes left.
We can watch it.
Yeah. It's funny is like a lot of times I'll spend like 45 minutes or 50 minutes on the first video, and then people are like, all right, time for the next video, and the next video starts, and they start doing immediately the exact same things. And that's normally why I'm okay spending so long on one video, is like just the fact that the same issues pretty much always come up. Okay, so it's good approaching laser. Good, pressuring him. So this wasn't directly like super bad that you ended up here, but like you want to be careful. So like when you're here, you really want to be careful not to put yourself here. And like I get that you kind of put yourself in a spot already where it's kind of awkward to go anywhere but here, but you really do want to avoid it. Like I would rather you land on the platform here then end up here, and then do a dash back laser. Because And the fact you did a double dash dance here too, you're not immediately fighting out of the corner. You're trying to like bait while in the corner. And that's just not really what you're going for. That was fine. That was good. Okay. Keeping the pressure on. That's good. Okay, keeping the corner pressure. Good. A little bit of an overcommitment into the corner there. But other than that, it was good. Okay, you're looking a lot more confident this game, at least.
I completely missed a dash back.
It happens. A little bit of an overcommitment to the corner there, too. I think being more careful about not ending up in the corner, whether it be like an overcommitment of yours or being kind of overly defensive, is going to be a big deal. Just think, I am fighting for center stage. I'm not fighting to hit my opponent. I'm fighting for center. Center is the goal. Once you have center, then you fight to hit your opponent. And you'll get hits out of other situations. It's just sort of like a rule of thumb that, like, how did you end up here? Like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And you have to... And it seems like you kind of got here from just sort of meaningless movement that just kind of ended up here. But at the same time, you don't want to be here. It'd be like if you ended up off stage. You need to figure out how you ended up here and not let it happen again. Okay, doing Fox combos. Okay. So, obviously this is a mix-up and you can do whatever you want here, but in a situation like this, don't be afraid of dashing in. And it seems really scary, but the situations... So this is another sort of rule of thumb, is the situations where it feels scariest to dash towards your opponent, the situations where you're like, well, if I dash forward, they can hit me with X and Y and Z. Those are the situations in which dash forward is the most powerful. Because they're going to think there's no reason why this guy is subconsciously. They'll think there's no reason why this guy is dashing in except that he has committed to hitting me. Because otherwise you'd just be risking yourself. So a lot of times when you're in these situations, it's kind of like you're trying to like sort of mentally wrestle the person into believing that you are approaching them. Because if Fox is the one approaching Falco in this matchup and Falco is just sort of defending, it doesn't really work really well for Falco. You can defend against Fox, but eventually you get too passive with lasers and downer in place and you get mixed up.
Corner, yeah.
Or pushed into the corner, exactly. And so you don't really want to be passive. You both want to be active. Fox wants to be active too, because if all he does is move around Falco's options, then he's getting manipulated around the map, which is a problem a lot of Fox mains have in the matchup, is they play they try to play too risk-free and move around Falco exclusively, and they never actually push in. So with Falco, so basically you want, it's like a mental wrestling match of trying to be like, because they're like, I'm approaching, and you're like, no, I'm approaching, and you're kind of trying to one-up each other in like how well you can like posture, like it's like an elephant doing, like a baby elephant doing like a bluff charge or something, where they're like, oh, and they pretend like they're gonna rush you, but they're not really gonna rush you, but they really want you to believe that they're about to rush you, and like, obviously, it's not just a baby elephant, but I saw a video of that, and that's what came to mind. But so like that's the idea, is like you have to like convince them, like, here I come, like I'm really coming this time, and then they have to deal with that. Like if you seem kind of like, maybe I don't really want to come in, that looks a little risky, then like they're like, fine, then I'm coming to you, and that's not what you want. You want them to feel like you're always about to come in, even when you're not. And that's just another example of, during invincibility, probably better not to corner yourself. Like this. Mm-hmm. Because then the neutral starts with you cornered. I would rather be on the platforms. You're going to be in a disadvantageous situation either way, so I'd prefer the platform situation because I have a lot more options to get down than I do options to get out of the corner.
And it's inherently less risky.
Yeah, and it's just less risky, exactly. Okay, good. You're on him. Good combos. Yeah, I get the sense you have a fairly good understanding of the combo game, so that's why I haven't really mentioned it much, even when you miss. What happened here? So yeah, this is kind of that same situation where I mentioned earlier with the grab, where it's like you don't just want to like throw it out because that was kind of obvious what you were going for. He even rolled before you even grab. Yeah, there's the dash back again. Dash back in the corner. There it is. For all the world to see your shame. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
No. So just think like, man, okay, so like this position, you feel super pressured by Fox. But if you did a downer in place right here, Fox cannot approach this. He would have to dash out of the range. Like, obviously, you know, Falco's short hop is taller than Fox's, so the down air will beat Fox's nair-in. And so, retreating here doesn't do anything for you. If you want to dash back, the reason why you dash back, or you should be dashing back, is that you're telling them, look, I'm giving up some space. And they go, really? And they run in, and then you say no, and you hit them. So that's what the uses of the dash back is. The uses of the dash back is not to get away from your opponent. Because getting away from your opponent doesn't actually help you. Good jump, Shine. And look, when you're playing active and you're fighting for the center, here's another situation where you let him reversal you in the corner. Just be really careful about this. Like this. You have to be super careful about this, because that is like a very common situation that'll happen, where you're pressuring someone in the corner, they want to roll out. That's just how the game is. So you want to be ready to cover the roll more so than try to hit them if they don't roll, because of course they're going to roll, because they're trying to get out of the corner.
Oh yeah,
it happens. I'm not going to worry about that. I didn't see it. I didn't see nothing. How did this happen? It's not that bad. That wasn't that bad. It happens. Like basically, anytime you end up in the corner, it was a win for your opponent. So if you're in a situation like, where was it? If you're in a situation, I think it was like this. Yeah, basically, like if you end up in a situation where you're cornered, it was like a win for your opponent somehow. So you really don't want that, but like, I can't just tell you like every time you go into the corner, like you should have done this instead, because it's complicated. But as like a general rule, you don't want to let him get you over there. And he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's about an hour, I think. Let's see, so 128. Yeah, so that's been an hour. So, all right, what are your thoughts on this lesson? What are your thoughts on how things went, or what's going on now?
Definitely, after watching the lesson where you talked about dashing forward and creating the threat, actually, it makes a lot of sense now why dashing back and going into the corner is much worse of a problem than I thought it was originally. Because it's just, it is winning for my opponent. There's no workaround of that. Me putting myself in the corner is me helping my opponent out. And at the same time, it's making my character worse because I'm not playing to the strengths of Falco. So I don't really have a clear idea of what moving forward is going to look like, but I do know that I will be able to, just by like playing more forward and doing these things, that I'll be able to see what's working and what's not and why.
Okay, so in terms of direction, I would say remember the phrase in this matchup, fight for the center. And so, you know, imagine, you know, Fox is, you know, some wealthy land investor and they're trying to buy you out of your home or something, and you're in center, and you say, no, like, I'm staying here. Like, you can't push me out of my home. That's the idea. You have to fight for center. Like, if you are in center and Fox is coming at you, you say, all right, try to make me leave. You know, don't just give him the center. So it's like, you have to be comfortable fighting with your character, but fighting in the positions where you are strong. So like, you know, so that's what I would say. Just keep in mind, fight for the center. Do not try to move around Fox. Let Fox move around you and fight for the center. Like, it's okay to use your hitboxes. Like, I don't think you did a single fade back downer in both of these matches. And so, like, using those, sort of walling in center, like, those things are stronger than I think you realize. Because you're not getting into center and holding center enough. A lot of times you'll get center and you won't really think about it as, like, a win. Like that one time where Fox rolled to the corner and you had center. I want you to see that and be like, okay, sick. Like, I have center. Like, I'm staying here. And the thing is, a lot of times you'll see it where he's in the corner, you're in center, and then you immediately go into the corner to pressure him. You don't want that either. You want to defend and fight for the center, and it'll just give you advantageous mix-ups in situations. That's just, like, how it is. So I would say spend a lot of time fighting for the center, trying to maintain center control. Don't be and obviously you should play a little bit more forward, but don't turn that into, oh, I'm in center, my opponent's in the corner, I gotta rush into the corner. Yeah. So fight for the center at all times, and things will work out better for you. That's the one takeaway I want you to have from this lesson.
Yeah. I have 2 bulletin points on my notes, and one is prioritize fighting for the center and not trying to hit my opponent, which is what you said, which makes a lot of sense. And then moving back into the corner doesn't minimize risk. It just resets the situation in a worse position than before. So my opponent's mix-ups are now stronger.
Good. And don't overcommit into the corner. That's the third one I would say.
Not overcommitting into the corner. I think I kind of scared myself off of doing fade back down airs because when I first started implementing them, I would do like backflip down air. And the situations where they occurred, like my opponent wouldn't run in far enough to get hit by the like full backflip fade back. So it'd just be like a neutral situation where we both land right next to each other. Instead of if they push in, they get hit by the big hitbox that I put out.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want more like dash in, jump straight up down air type thing, rather than the full backflip. But
like a neutral jump.
Yeah, or jump forward, fade back. They're both good. Forward. But anyway, it was nice talking. I'll be uploading this lesson pretty soon. So
already.
Yeah, hope you have a good one, man, and good luck with the Falco.
Yeah, thank you. I learned a lot.
Sick.